Hey guys, have you seen Frozen 2? Have you seen Frozen 2?
Of course.
Such a good movie. My favorite part is when that lizard that's on fire runs and he jumps into that snow pile and melts all the way to the bottom.
That's a pretty great part. I think my favorite part is at the beginning when they're all playing charades together and Olaf and Kristoff win.
Yep.
And Anna says, I don't think Olaf should be allowed to rearrange.
It kind of feels like cheating.
It does feel like cheating, right? Well, what's your guys' favorite part? On the count of 3, I want you to shout out your favorite part of the movie. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah.
Those are really good
great parts.
I
Those are really
totally
great
agree.
parts.
Remember in the movie how Elsa was afraid of the unknown?
Yeah.
And Olaf got angry that everything was changing, and Anna felt sad and lonely. Well, it kind of reminds me of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
When everything feels so uncertain and the unknown is all around us, it can make us feel a lot of different emotions.
Yeah, lots of feelings. Some people are angry because of the things they can't do. Some people are just feeling sad for all the things that they were wanting to do. And there's a lot of confusion of like, what's coming next? What am I supposed to do next? And all of those feelings are okay to have.
Absolutely.
It's okay to have all of those feelings. But what we're going to be talking about today, and the good news is that even when we're feeling sad or angry or disappointed or confused, we can go to Jesus.
That's right.
And Jesus's power will give us hope.
Those sound like excellent words that we should be studying, our Bible point.
Yep.
All right, so let's do that. Point up.
Jesus's power
brings
us
hope.
brings us-
No, it's brings hope.
Brings hope.
She's doing it wrong.
Let's do it again.
Okay,
ready?
Jesus' power brings
us
hope. Excellent.
That was better.
That was better.
That's okay. All right, well, we're going to watch a really great story today where there was a lot of feelings involved. Jesus's friends, some of them felt angry at Jesus. They were confused about why Jesus wasn't doing things the way they wanted him to. They were feeling disappointed in how Jesus was helping them.
Yeah.
And so let's watch that story and see how all of those emotions played out and what Jesus did with them. So check out this great story.
Stories of the Bible. Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. This is Jesus,
Heyo!
who is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. While Jesus was on earth, he taught everyone about God's love. He did many miracles and healed people of their sickness. Jesus had a friend named Lazarus who was very sick. He had 2 sisters named Mary
That's okay.
and Martha,
Here you go.
who sent a message to Jesus telling him, "Lord, your dear friend is very sick."
So come on!
But when Jesus heard about it, he said, "Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory of God."
What?
So although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, he stayed where he was for the next 2 days.
Alright, let's go!
Finally, he said to his disciples, "Let's go back to Judea."
Are you sure?
But his disciples did not think this was a good idea because the people in Judea had tried to kill Jesus. But Jesus told them they were going anyway. He said, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up."
You'll be okay.
The disciples thought Jesus meant Lazarus was simply sleeping. So Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead.
What?
And for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there. For now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him." Thomas said to his fellow disciples, "Let's go too and die with Jesus." When Jesus arrived at Bethany, he was told that Lazarus had already been in his grave for 4 days. Many people had come to be with Mary and Martha because their brother had died. When Martha got word that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus told her, "Your brother will rise again." "Yes," Martha said, He will rise when everyone else rises at the last day. Jesus told her, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Do you believe this, Martha? Yes, Lord, she told him. I have always believed you are the Messiah, the Son of God. Then she returned to Mary. She told Mary, the teacher is here and wants to see you. So Mary immediately went to him. When the people who were at the house consoling Mary saw her leave so hastily, they assumed she was going to Lazarus' grave to weep.
Oh, let's go too.
So they followed her there. When Mary arrived and saw Jesus, she said, Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him. Where have you put him? He asked them. They told him, Lord, come and see. Then Jesus wept. The people who were standing nearby said, See how much he loved him? But some said, This man healed a blind man. Couldn't he have kept Lazarus from dying? Jesus was still angry and he arrived at the tomb. Roll the stone aside, Jesus told them.
Wait, hold on, Jesus.
But Martha protested, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible. Jesus said, Didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believe?
Go ahead.
So they rolled the stone aside. Then Jesus said, Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me, but I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here, so they will believe you sent me. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out! And Lazarus came out, his hands, feet, and head wrapped in cloth. Jesus told them, unwrap him and let him go.
Wahoo!
Many of the Jews who were there believed in Jesus, for he had raised Lazarus from the dead.
Well, in our true Bible story today, Mary and Martha were expecting Jesus to come and to just make everything right. But when he didn't, they said, you're too late. And they were angry and they were frustrated and confused, disappointed, sad. And it was really okay for them to have all those feelings.
Totally. But Jesus actually wasn't late. He wanted to do something even more amazing than just healing sick Lazarus.
That's right.
He wanted to raise someone from the dead. And when Mary and Martha saw that Jesus' power brings hope, they could let go of that anger and they could have hope instead.
And we can do the same thing. There are times when we feel stuck or disappointed, and we can feel angry and confused in those times. And that's okay. Those are feelings that you're allowed to have. Your feelings are your feelings.
That's right.
But it's what we do in those times that can really make a difference in how we respond.
Yeah, and all of our feelings are a gift from God, right? And all of our feelings are a reflection of God. He has all the same feelings that we do because we're created in his image. So those feelings are never bad. What we do with those feelings shows what we believe about God, though. And so we can have hope. We can believe that Jesus' power brings hope.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we know that Jesus is in charge.
We do.
And when we know Jesus is in charge, that can bring us hope, which can help us like set aside the anger or set aside the disappointment because we're trusting God.
And that's right. That setting aside is what's so important, to let it go. And that's a Frozen song.
Oh, I feel like there's so many songs we should be singing right now.
Okay, but let's do our special words.
Okay. And then we'll sing Into the Unknown?
No.
And Let It Go? No, all right.
No.
You can do that at home.
Okay, words. Let's do those. Ready?
Jesus' power brings hope.
Excellent job.
Yes.
Okay, thankful journal. Let's go to that. In your thankful journal, I want you to draw a picture of some time in your life that God did something for you that you were hoping for. Like maybe you planted a garden, you were hoping that those flowers would grow and they did. Or maybe you had an injury and you were hoping and praying to God that you would be healed, and you were. I want you to think of some time in your life that you had something you hoped for and God came through. And that reminds you to have hope.
Yes.
Yep.
Totally.
Okay, we're gonna draw ours.
Yep.
We'll be right back. All right, thankful journals. You wanna show me yours?
Sure. I drew a rainbow because every time I see a rainbow, it reminds me of God's promises. And when I remember God's promises, it's actually easier for me to set aside those emotions. It's easier for me to remember that God is in charge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good. All right, so I drew, this is me planting a garden and having things grow in the garden, which is what I've done actually during this time at home. And it's really, really cool to see those things pop up out of the ground, because that's only God's power. That's how that happens. That's how that happens. Being able to focus on what God has done for us is what reminds us that Jesus' power brings hope.
That's right. Well, let's close in prayer, guys. God, thank you that you are the God of hope. That you're the God who makes promises and keeps them. You are the God that can be trusted in all things. Lord, so when we're having all of these feelings, help us to listen to them, to pay attention to them, to not dismiss them, but to honor them for what they're telling us about ourselves and about our hearts. But God, help us also to look to you, to constantly be seeking the truth so that we know what to do with those feelings, so that we know how to feel them and then trust you. So God, help us to do that this week, to remember that your power brings hope into our lives and that you can be trusted. We love you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right, should we do it one more time?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Here we go. Ready? Jesus' power brings hope.
Excellent job.
Excellent. Have a great week.
Yes.
Have you ever been angry at someone?
No, why?
What?
Oh, no, I mean,
Who have
no.
you possibly been angry
No,
at?
I've never been angry.
Never?
Yes, I have.
But we have a little piece of advice for you. Ready?
Let it go. Let it go.
Hey,
Hey guys. Casey, what do you think about all of this stuff that we're going through right now?
I don't know. I really don't. It's pretty confusing, right? Well, that's okay because this will all make sense when you're older. Hey, so do you guys have any feelings you want to share with us today? No feelings at all? Well, we just have a little bit of advice for you.
Okay,
It's
great.
okay to have some feelings, because whenever you have those feelings, you can let it go, let it go.